What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. Want to thank you for joining the show. This is the very first We Don't Have Cookies live stream. We're going to have fun today. It's a stacked show. YouTube legend Frankie MacDonald will be here to run down this week's weather and play a game. There's also maybe a surprise or two, but I doubt it. I will be giving away a copy of my first guest book at the end of the show, so make sure you stick around. We're going to be talking about that here in just a second. Speaking of my first guest, let's get right to it. You may have heard of him or seen him on the Netflix documentary Behind the Curve, or you may have seen him from clips from his YouTube channel. Believe that is Flat Earth Clues, with close to 100,000 subscribers with 20 million views. The poster child of the Flat Earth movement, the one and thank God the only, Mark Sargent. Mark,
Wow.
doing?
Thank you. That was a wonderful intro. And I'm sorry I don't have the lights on me right now. So my light's a little flat. I could put lights on me, but then it's gonna get all weird. So
We're just starting off with flat puns already,
yeah,
unintentionally.
that was unintentional actually. I was looking, I was thinking, wow, the first time I talked to you was back in August of 2020, and then we did one in January of 2021.
Yeah,
And here we are in April of 22.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're always a really good guy, so glad to
Ah,
have
I
you
don't know.
back.
That's rumor and hearsay.
Rumor and innuendo, huh?
Yep. Spread
I
by my
think
competitors.
I remember the first time you were on the show. I had a really hard time pronouncing your first name.
Really?
Yeah, it took me. I think that was the first 3 minutes of the show.
Wow. Really? Really?
Well,
So the
yeah,
New Testament doesn't do anything for you? You know, screw
no,
those first 4 books. They're all really tongue twisters, are they?
yeah,
Yeah.
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 What the others like? I know I'm going to screw them up. Something like Joan and Luck or something. I don't know, man. I can't pronounce biblical names, but
Matthew. That's weird. That sounds European. That doesn't sound right.
well, one of the things I wanted to ask you about
Yeah.
is that. Oh, and by the way, I don't want you to feel like this is a setup, but when I announced that you would be on the show,
Mhm.
I was contacted by an expert who said that they want to come on to prove you wrong. They want to come in house, so hopefully they'll be here before the show's over.
And you're
We'll
not gonna
see.
tell me this person's name?
Well, as you know, I'm bad with names, but I do know his first name is Alfred. So we'll have him introduce himself. He's from Germany, I hear. So
Okay.
it may take him a while to get here.
Alright.
But one thing I wanted to ask you about,
Mhm.
everybody can see you on the screen.
Yep.
So being in the flat earth community and in the conspiracy theory community,
Right.
do you find it hard to be one of the handfuls of hunks in that community?
Hunks as in
Well, you know what? But before we go any
like I'm beating
further,
them off with
I
a
don't
stick
want to.
type hunk type thing?
Well, I know that with the way things are today, that calling you a hunk is probably bad. It's not the
First,
PC
it's
term,
extremely flattering considering my age, but
but
thank you. Thank you for that.
I think the PC term is beefcake.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
so
Oh my god.
how do you deal
I
with that?
have, by the way, I have gained quite a bit more muscle mass since the documentary. You know, the documentary was it was shot in 2017. So that's 5 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. In fact, it's already completed its run on Netflix. I mean, it went the distance. You know, it had a 3-year contract with Netflix and just got pulled off, I think 30, 45 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a
And it
really good
did.
documentary.
Thank you. It did very, very well. I did not produce it or have anything really to do with it other than I was in it. I was the protagonist in it. And the producers and the directors had no faith at all in the project whatsoever. They were just kind of doing it as a side thing and never thought it would get in any film festivals, never thought it would get purchased by Netflix or iTunes or anybody else. So
Wow. So
yeah.
Walk me through that because that seems very odd that they would put the time into it because they
There's
interviewed quite a few people.
a lot of times films get made just to be put on a resume. It's kinda like going th it's nothing I can really even compare it to. Only that there's, like, for example, there are thousands of films made every year that you will never ever see because they cannot get into distribution because no one wants to pick them up. So, here a perfect example would be we made this film in 2017, and they applied to the one of the first film festivals they went to was the big Toronto Film Festival up in Canada. And there were a great example of this would be there were 3,000 films submitted to that film festival. 3,000.
Wow.
And out of those, the film festival could only choose 100 to screen. Out of those, only 10 really draw attention, get people pumped up. And out of those, maybe 3 maybe get purchased. Even if they win an award, there's no guarantee that they're gonna get purchased. And so again, I don't blame them all. The producer and the directors, yeah, why would you have faith? There's a 99% chance your film is not gonna do
Yeah, that's
anything.
true.
That's why people say, why there's so many sequels made to movies, and that's because when it comes to Hollywood especially, it is lightning in a bottle, and once you catch it, you're gonna milk it for everything it's worth, if you can. That's why
Mhm.
people, they love, the actors don't like doing sequels necessarily. I mean, it's a good payday, but, actors wanna do their creative thing, and it's like, "I want another project. I don't wanna do 9 Fast and Furious movies," and stuff like that. And so there's 99% chance that it was gonna fail, and when it did as well as it did in the Toronto Film Festival, every festival they submitted it to, they got in. And then to where they even sent me out to a film festival and, to be a representative, even though they hated Flat Earth, just hated it. And then, it was picked up immediately. They were saying, "Oh, it could take 2 years to get purchased, even if it does," and that was not the case. But to tell you how bad they did not like us at the end, because nobody that made the film had any, nobody got converted that made that film. I mean, they were staunch anti-conspiracy all the way. There wasn't even a discussion about a sequel. They were like, "Nope, we don't wanna have anything to do with this." And so they
Wow.
just, yeah, they never touched it again. It's like, "All right, it's fine."
What would the sequel be called out of curiosity?
Well, we already know, if we were gonna do it, it would be called Beyond the Curve instead of
Oh,
Behind the
okay.
Curve. So,
I like that.
that would have been the easy one to do, and, it would have been fun to do a follow-up on that, but,
Yeah.
again, it's the entertainment industry, and it did as well as it did because they hated it, because they didn't it seriously, because
No,
it
I get you because
otherwise
there's a lot of that out there.
it would have come off as a propaganda piece. The good documentaries come off as back and forth, back and forth. So, yeah, because I sat with some of these audiences, and is like, they're like, "Oh, there's a lot of flat Earth things happening. Oh, okay, good, there's a scientist on screen. I don't have to panic now. Oh, there's more flat Earth. Oh, no, there's an astronaut. I know him. I know him. He's really good." And it was like this, it was, build up, and then scientist, build up, psychologist, build up. And so by the end of the movie, they were just going back and forth. But what I like to tell people, remind people, is that for a lot of the audience, the first 20-30 minutes, if you don't know anything about flat Earth, they didn't think it was a real movie. They didn't think it was a documentary. They thought it was a piece, what's known as a docu-fiction, where
Oh, okay.
everybody plays it
Like
straight. And,
a
and the
mockumentary.
kind of like a mockumentary, but it wasn't mocking it over the top like some of those. That this was Docufictions are very, very rare, which is why they're tough to pull off, because you don't know if they're serious or not. I don't remember telling you this, but they showed the rough cut of the movie to an editor out in Los Angeles. Didn't give him any context whatsoever. It was so great. He comes back at him and he goes, "What?" He goes, "What sort of budget did you have for this movie?" He goes, "I thought this was just a shoestring type deal." And they said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "All those actors, they played it absolutely straight."
They
And
were really good.
they had to come back. It's like, "No, man, there were no actors. That's all real." And he just freaked. He's going, "Wait, that conference that happened. It's like, yeah, man, we were there for 3 days, and yeah, which
Wow.
is why all the media went nuts too. I mean, the media sends scout teams to stuff like that. Like they'll send like one or two people to walk around and see if it's legit before they send out a full blown camera crew. And I saw these guys, you can tell it's like as soon as they walked in, they're like, they just picked up their cell phone. It's like, yeah, you got to send somebody down here like right now. Something weird is happening. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. And so the second day of the conference, that's when all the media showed up. I mean, from everywhere. They came in from overseas. They were all over that place.
Really?
I was wearing 3 hot mics simultaneously. And to this day, I can't even tell you who I was hot mic to. Meaning, I don't know if it was
Wow.
foreign press or local press. I mean, Howard Stern sent a team, for example. Everybody from French to Middle Eastern to Australian. I don't think I watched even 30 minutes of all the presenters, because I was constantly being dragged into small rooms, and mic'd up, and it's like, okay, let's tell us what's going on here. Are you all insane? It's like, yes, obviously. In fact, it was a mental institution that just exploded one day, and the survivors limped over to this hotel, and we started our own conference. Isn't it obvious? Anyway.
Well, everybody, I have a special treat for you. This wasn't announced, but he is part of the We Don't Have Cookies family and one of the podcast listeners' favorite people. It's John the Songman. How you doing, Johnny?
Oh, great seeing face to face. And just so you
Same
know,
here.
Mark, just so you know, you're on the air, just so you are aware, because I know you got tons of stuff to share. Because I know without James, you're much better to him than a teddy bear, because you always are always the man that's always the mayor.
Wow. I should break out 2 turntables and a microphone just to the whole wicka 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 wicka. It's
I
nice.
like that though. You're the mayor of the flat earth community. I think we
I
just
did not
christened
come
you a
up with
new
that
name.
name. That was taken directly from the Truman Show, because I made this one reference point to the Truman Show, which they ran with, and I was really surprised. And I only talked about it once, which was the Truman Show with Jim Carrey from 1998 or 98 or 99. I think it was 98. And where Truman left at the end of the movie. Once he figured out where he was, when he got to that door at the edge of the world, he's like, he's gone. He's leaving.
Mhm.
And what I tried to remind people is like, yeah, because Truman was just a cog in the machine, right? But what if there were a lot more people that were being fooled, right? What if you were the mayor of the Truman Show, right? And you didn't know what was going on if you got to the edge of the world? Well, you're giving a lot of stuff up. You're giving a whole bunch up. Would you still go out that door, give up that cush life for the unknown? Jim Carrey, Truman had nothing to lose, but a mayor or someone, high profile figure, they might just stay and keep the secret. And that's when
Yeah.
they came over to say, well, aren't you the mayor of flat earth? And it's like, which means that even if I found out the world wasn't flat, I wouldn't tell people. It's like, no, that's not me. You just gave me the title. But that's how they portrayed it at the end of the movie. I was like, I get you. I see what you're doing, which is fine. But no,
Did
I'd absolutely no. It's the challenge I put. No, I don't like doing this. No, no, I didn't get into flat Earth to be famous. People's like, oh, you were in it, to get famous is like flat Earth is a terrible idea to try to get famous for. It's horrible. I mean, the odds are so stacked against you.
that is true.
So no, in fact, that's why I put out my phone number, my physical address, and my email address, and everything. I said, look, please, somebody shut this thing down so I can get back to my normal life, so I can go back to the Matrix. And it turned out to be the opposite. So anyway,
You got a question for Mark, John?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can ask a question. Like, what would you say would be the highlight of 22 for you if this does come around for a good goal for you?
22 this year.
Yeah.
My goal this year, provided we don't get embroiled in some international epic Lord of the Rings story.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be light when I say that. Is to actually go to the conference we've got a flat earth conference in the Carolinas in October.
Oh, okay.
called Flattoberfest. And I did not go last year because of the whole lockdown situation. I thought the whole flight situation was ridiculous, and so I did not go. But from what I understand, the U.S. government's going to repeal the federal mandates here in a couple of weeks. And if that's the case, then yeah, I may go. So that's what I want to do, because it was, I mean, I'll give you a quick example. In 2019, I did conferences in 7 countries.
Yep.
I did a commercial in Australia. I, did a conference in New Zealand. That was a blast. I did talk shows in London. Could our community could do no wrong in 2019. And then at the beginning of 2020, I kid you not, it was getting so nuts that London called me back and they said, yeah, you got to fly back out here, because we celebrate something called Pancake Day in the UK. Yeah. It's like, okay. And McDonald's says, yeah, we're going to do a Pancake Day, and we need you to do a commercial because, pancakes are flat and they're round. I'm going, I'm all for it. Let's do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And the passports are ready. And then the next thing you know, all the borders closed because of the lockdowns. It's like, damn it. Yeah. And it did not get any better after that. I mean, our big conference in Vegas was canceled. We couldn't find any venues. And I mean, the online community, we kept plugging away and doing our stuff. I never stopped doing that. But the meetups really shrunk for a while. Only now have we gotten back to meetups. I think there's this month alone, I think there's like a dozen different meetups in different states. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's incredible that you almost got to do a McDonald's commercial.
Yeah, it would have been. I would have caught in some hell for it. And I mean, I caught hell for the mobile commercial down in Melbourne. But at the same time, I try to remind people, like, going, look, I don't care as long as I get to say flat Earth on camera. I go, you can sit me down in a chair and just throw pies at me for 30 seconds. That's fine. I'll be like, flat Earth, black. I'll do that. So, no, doing a dumb pancake commercial. I'm going to remember the campaign for the mobile commercial was called Foolproof, right? Okay. Meaning if guys like Mark can figure out our app, then you can too. And it's like,
I thought it had something to do with like a flat rate or something like that.
No. Australia is the online gambling is completely legal there. And so, as you can imagine, there's a big online gambling problem because it's completely legal. And so there are these big companies, and a couple of them put apps on their phone, where you don't even have to come down to the track. You can just do it from your phone. And I'll be darned if we didn't go to a horse track that was in the off season and we shot the commercial in the lobby. They converted the lobby into this thing. So it was kind of fun, but no, I don't mind any of that stuff. The only thing, but at one point during the shoot, they said, hey, would you mind saying that the world isn't flat on camera? And I said, no. It is not in my contract. But here, one more thing. And again, people don't understand the weird thing about production. Nothing is real on television. Nothing. Yeah. And I remember I was there, and there were American people walking in front of me, like a beauty queen from South Carolina. And I'm going, wow, you got a beauty queen from South Carolina there? It's like, no, mate, she's Australian, right? I'm going, what? And I look at the sheet, and everybody on there was actors except me. Everybody else, so there were Americans being portrayed by everybody was Australian. And then I had to ask, I whispered, I grabbed somebody, I go, why am I here exactly? I go, you could have just pretended to be a flat earther, just grab anybody, pretend to be a dumb flat earther. It's like, oh, the owners, they wanted to meet you. And I'm going, what? And sure enough, the owners, there are a couple of the people, the high ranking execs that were part of Team Flat. So it's like, but they want really quietly. And it's like, yeah, nice. We didn't even go out to dinner. That was the weird part. They just shook my hand. It was one of those feathers in their cap. It's like, oh yeah, we helped Mark out and helped the whole community out. I was like, wow, it's so weird. Anyway.
Well, Songman, is there anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
Oh, well, it's just a pleasure to make a debut because, Mark, I got to talk to you, and you're welcome. I gave you a song to make you go woo, woo, woo. And I'm sure when I hang up, this is going to make James go yibbity-dabbity-doo because, Mark, I'm so glad I invited you because this show was a big yahoo.
Wow. Hey, before you go real quick, where are you?
Oh, I'm in Rhode Island.
Oh, okay. I was worried.
The small one, unfortunately. I get in and out. You never know. James always gets me on, so I get in and I'll be on every month or so for you.
Nice. It was tough for me to place the accent. I was like, where's that from? Rhode Island. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever actually been to Rhode Island, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. Well, you have no idea how many people don't come here that often. And then one more thing, you said you were going to the Oktoberfest, right? That was your
But
goal.
I am going to definitely try. I think it'll actually happen.
Yeah. Well, before I leave, this James, do a favor for me and send him a big Federal Express because I know for sure this is gonna help him get to Oktoberfest because you know for sure he's the best, and I'm sure he's gonna be better whoever's the next guest because you know he's always the best. And I'm sure he's gonna say, okay, 23. What's my goal next?
All right, Slugman, it's great to have you.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's really
Not
cool.
a problem. I would hope to have you back on soon. I can get you in on this because James invites me. And just so you know, just good luck in the new year. And I'll make sure I get you on for another rap to cheer in your ear.
Thank you. That is so kind. That is awesome. I have done, I don't know how many interviews, a lot. And I have never had anyone do that. That is really, really cool. So thank you.
Well, we have a very special guest joining us right now.
Oh boy.
From CMT's reality show Dallas Cowboys Making the Team and CBS's Big Brother 21. It's the Yellow Rose of Texas, Kat Dunn.
Jason, you can't just introduce me with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader intro and then I show something like this. I'm not used to video podcast. I'm wearing a Buc-ee's sweatshirt. Oh, wow. I was not prepared for that intro, but it is I, the Yellow Rose of Texas. I'm here.
By the way, I have not been told thank you, Jason. I have not been told about any people coming on at all. So this is a
surprise.
Yes. Hi.
Well, to be fair, in the intro, I said there may be a surprise or two.
What?
But I also said I doubted it.
Yes, and why do I have a feeling you didn't doubt it at all?
I didn't doubt it at all.
Jason thought I was just gonna ditch, even though we literally talked about it.
No. He was bluffing.
Yeah,
he was underselling it. It's like, oh, somebody might come on. I don't know. Whatever.
Songman was a last minute addition, so. But yeah, I've been waiting to hook you two up because Kat does a podcast called Conspire Away Bitches. And it's incredible. You'd be perfect for it, Mark.
Conspire away, bitches.
Yeah, we are. When I say we, I mean me. I am the podcast. We specialize in aliens and stuff, but flat earthers, come one, come all. I love a good flat Earth argument.
All right,
but
cool. I'd be happy to talk to you about anything.
Did you already talk about flat Earth?
No, we're pretty much just getting warmed up.
We talked for 5 minutes, oh, by the way, special guest. It's really? We just started. But for you, if I do come on and do your thing, I think I was one of the few people that own the first 9 seasons of Ancient Aliens on DVD.
True story. I wish I had my book with me. I have the Ancient Aliens in the Bible book.
Wow.
My parents and my aunt especially are very disappointed in me for having that. But I think it brings up a good point. And I was talking about this to some friends the other day.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes more sense. Actually, that sounds really bad. I was gonna say it makes more sense to the Bible, but then I was like, I'm about to get shot to hell. So maybe I should reword how I said that. But,
yeah,
no. I mean,
but it makes a lot of good points.
Oh yeah. And no, I'm a huge. Before I was into the flat Earth thing, I was living in Colorado for 20 years. And somebody turned me on to some British at the end of this weird conspiracy thing. He goes, you want to look at some weird stuff? He goes, get some night vision binoculars, start looking at the sky. And I'm going, that sounds like a wager. So I went out and I shopped through a whole bunch of different night vision binoculars, and I'll be damned if the sky is not freaking crawling with stuff, just crawling with stuff. And I thought they were all satellites to begin with. For the first day, I was going, this is so boring.
That's what they want you to do.
And then they started moving around in weird things and going ballistic and making left-hand and right-hand turns and stopping for no apparent reason. And I'm going, what am I looking at up there? And then it occurred to me, it dawned on me after all the movies, because I'm older, after all the movies we've watched over the years, including Close Encounters, back in the day, that UFOs work just fine when their lights are off. They're like cars, right? Car works just fine when you turn the headlights off. UFOs are the same way. In fact, the only reason that UFOs are, get spotted is because they want to be seen. Most of the time, they just run silent, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely freaking brilliant. So I can show you some wonderful videos. There's some great stuff out there.
So I actually think that I saw a UFO, like, this is like a couple of months ago now, when I was in Joshua Tree, which is where like all the like paranormal stuff happens.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that I saw a UFO, and then I like Googled it, like what I saw, because I think I was like getting probed by aliens because I didn't think to film it. So I was just like going off my memory, and I was like, okay, like three disc thingies spinning or whatever. And I was not the only one that saw that over the course of like.
Were you the only one that was sober?
I was dead sober at this time.
Well, no, I have to ask, because when anyone says they go to Joshua Tree, it's like, oh boy.
No, that's not really. Yeah, that's not really my scene.
The only question is how much did they ingest before they got to the tree?
No, nothing. I was on a walk.
I was literally on a walk. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I said
I was the opposite of like that kind of.
You were the designated driver in that.
But I was like, but anyways, aliens are among us. But here's my question: how does that tie in with like flat Earth beliefs?
Oh yeah, easily. No. And again, what I was telling you earlier, I believe. Do I think there's stuff flying up there that's not us? Yep, absolutely, all day long. Do I think the only difference is? Do I think they're from Mars or Venus or Jupiter or something like that? No, I don't.
They're from the what's it called? I'm going blank, but it's in the Ancient Alien book.
It's either interdimensional or subterranean.
I was way off. Never mind.
Oh, that's right.
I was coming up with a whole other planet. I was like, no, they're from the planet Nebula.
Samsonite. I was way off. Yeah. No. Oh God, you just threw my train of thought for a second there. What I believe is that most of the stuff that's flying around there, I'm a believer, the Mahabharata and stuff like the old ancient, again, they're called ancient aliens for a reason. I think they're just old versions of us. I think they're just remnants of older civilizations that are kind of like the previous senior classes that just, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here because we got a new class coming in. Whoever's on the surface, they are told not to mess with them. The greatest, again, you're an Ancient Aliens person. If you watch the series, you might remember this. The greatest sighting, ancient or alien sighting ship thing was never Roswell or Aurora, Texas, or anything like that. No, it was 1561 Germany, the Nuremberg event, which was just mind blowing. Look that up if you get a chance. It is absolutely.
I feel like I probably.
Do you know? You've heard of this thing? Let me tell you really quick. Is
that the thing about, or I might be thinking of time travel. I'm all, my brain is like, you don't want to take a glimpse in my brain because it's a mess.
No, not the German. It's probably like a bad.
You know, like the Viking ship.
The what?
The Viking ship, where but that was more like time travel than aliens. But it was like where like, all of a sudden they like saw a Viking ship and then like.
No. This is. No, I'll tell you again. You can look this up. 1561 Nuremberg event. I think Jason's looking it up right now. But what it was, it's just amazing. Where a beautiful April morning in Nuremberg, Germany, in 1561, long before cameras, two opposing, flying aircraft carriers show up over the city and start launching fighters. Of course, they didn't have any science fiction references at the time, so they thought it was religious, and just start hammering on each other for a full hour. Not a cloud in the sky. There was no sun dogs. It wasn't a chilly morning. And even though they didn't have cameras, an hour is an amazing long time for a dog fight. Right?
Yeah.
And they're watching this, they're having their toast and their Schnitzengluben, and they're just breaking out the sketchbooks and they're drawing the whole damn thing because they did have newspapers back then. I mean, the old style. And they did a wood carving of, so the part that Ancient Aliens left out, this is where it gets spooky. So after an hour, right?
Hold on, I don't like to listen to spooky things at night.
No, it's good. This is good.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be scared.
You're fine. This is no. And then a vampire show. No.
I know that shit.
It was a werewolf. No. It was the Headless Horseman. No, a single giant black angular ship pulled up between them and parked. Didn't launch anything. Those two scatter like the sharks and the jets from West Side Story and take off. And this thing hangs out for a while and then slowly kind of pulls away. And that just opens, and that was the part they left out of Ancient Aliens, because that opens up a whole new line of credibility, which is like, okay, who are these guys, these two guys? Why were they fighting over a city, which was definitely against the rules, which is why I think the third shift showed up. Third shift shows up. It's like, okay, who were they? Were they the cops? Were they the UN? Who the hell were these guys?
The United Nations of aliens.
Yeah. And but the thing that threw me at the end was like, what they must, my best guess is they must have found a blackout zone, meaning because the response time was ridiculous. I mean, if I shoot a gun out the window here, there's cops going to be here in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
These guys were fighting with military weapons for a full hour, and it took that long for that ship to show up. But it was just blew my mind away. And again, look up the drawing on the newspaper, because they drew the whole thing out. Just gorgeous. Absolutely freaking gorgeous. There you go. I know I was going to save that for your show, but now I can't. So
yeah. Okay. Well, I was going to say, so consider this a teaser, because we got to talk on the Conspire Bitches podcast. I actually have to go, because I have to go to an Amazon Live, not the opposite of aliens.
You don't have to lie to make friends. It's fine. I completely understand.
No, it's like on that note, crazy. I gotta go.
No, what? Jason, why did you invite her?
I gotta go do my.
No, just email me. Jason will put you in touch. I'd be happy to do it. I would love to talk to you. I think.
Yeah, I love it.
I think you and I could probably talk for forever.
Yes, I have so many questions, but okay. I'll let you all do your thing. It was nice meeting you, and I can't wait to listen to this episode about. Hopefully, I'll talk about flat Earth. I'm just assuming that y'all are.
I don't know. It depends if he brings. It might be just a. It might just be a guest show. He might just be bringing in people, and then after like the fifth one, and be like, "Good night, everybody," and roll credit.
That'd be funny. That would actually be really funny.
Yeah. I got roasted the last time I had him on and didn't ask enough flat Earth questions by people who believe in flat Earth.
Yeah, I'm
which
interested.
I thought was funny, because it's like, well, you guys already know this. I had him come on as a comedy podcast. This isn't like an educational
Flat
thing.
Earth is not comedy, Jason. It's very serious.
I have found that out.
Serious. It's very serious. Actually, we have very little comedy. But no, I've got, if you want to do any research beforehand, I've got 1,500 videos on my channels divided up into playlists.
I don't have time for that. I'm kidding. I'll watch like the top rated.
You Gen Zers, you don't have any motivation.
I love how you think I'm Gen Z. Thank you.
You're not?
No, I'm a millennial.
Holy smokes.
I know.
I mean, you look like you're like 24.
Bless you. But I'm 32.
Wow.
I know.
Good for you.
It's that time travel.
Good for you. You don't have city miles like I do. I'm lucky.
By the way, I have met a time traveler, and I might be putting him in touch with you. We will see.
Ooh,
That's right.
You know what? We should do this every night.
We should.
Same place tomorrow. But I do gotta go, because I have to go work.
All right. Nice meeting you.
It was good seeing you.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
All right. See ya. Oh, I really didn't like her. Thank you for getting rid of her as fast as you did.
I swear, you guys could talk for hours. I would love to be there when you do.
That was
a lot of fun.
Taxing. Oh, seriously, dodged a bullet there.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Anyway, oh my God, she's back.
Bye.
Why was she back?
I saw her in the background, and I thought it'd just be funny to throw her back on the screen.
Yeah, I don't change my stance. No, I'm totally not doing her podcast. She seems like there's a big can of crazy happening there. No, I'm kidding.
One of the
she seems lovely.
Oh yeah, she's one of the most fun people I know. That's for sure. She's great.
Oh, cool. I've done, out of the 400, 500 podcasts, I've done maybe not even 50 were hosted by women.
Wow, really?
Yeah, the conspiracy world tends to, there's that dark side of the conspiracy world which men dwell. They talk in low tones about the government and pretend that they're Batman, type stuff. So
yeah.
All right, you don't ask me. Or do you have somebody else lined up?
No, I actually was surprised from all the people when we did that last show that really got on me for not asking more flat Earth questions.
All right.
But at this point, you have put so much information out there that I can't imagine there's something I'm going to ask you where you're like, oh shit. Well,
no, an original question, that's pretty tough. Usually the people that come up with original questions are high schoolers, some university students, because they're just off in the weeds anyway. It's really weird stuff. I can't even think of the last original question, but I don't mind. No, I mean, repetition. I mean, come on. That's how you build stuff is and the key is not to change your answers. That's what I've been lucky about, which is, the answer I give now is very, very similar to the answer I gave in 2015. Because everything on the internet sticks. So if you start changing your routine, people will figure that out. I mean, the internet hive mind finds everything, absolutely freaking everything, which is why Joe Rogan got beat up so badly in our circles, because he was anti-NASA, absolutely went after the moon landing, and then all of a sudden he got a brand new show on Sci-Fi. It was called Joe Rogan Questions Everything, and in the very first episode, he apologized for everything bad he ever said about NASA. That's like, what the hell happened? It's like, oh right, they bought you. And then after that show failed, he was given a podcast, which is now, come on, Joe Rogan has the biggest podcast in the world.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
No, it does not. Look, I mean, no.
And I'm not just some bandwagon hater. I never quite understood it
he's
myself,
been in the entertainment industry his whole life, but he hasn't exactly been A-list at any level.
Yeah, and he's never been smart either, no matter how much people pretend he is. But
I'll
probably get a lot of hate for that.
No, look, he is what he is, but I do love this. I do love that he keeps bringing up flat Earth to people, because he had to guess, because he can't endorse it because of who he is now. And heck, Alex Jones, during Alex Jones's divorce trial, he was talking to people, and he came out and said, he goes, oh yeah, they got to Joe. But he asked for it. There's this wonderful clip of him on YouTube from years ago when he found out, it was like news to him, that the government will hire people to be used in the entertainment industry. And he said straight to camera, I mean, not even close. He goes, look, if you're out there, call me. I will sell out my freaking mother. Now, of course, he was talking about, the money. It's like, why not? I mean, if you want to go back to that, Stanley Kubrick,
can I stop you right there real quick?
The what?
Can I stop you right there just for a second?
Sure.
If you're out there, call me. Numbers at the bottom of the screen, 929-266-WDHC. That's 929-266-9342. I am waiting.
Well, that's just it. I mean,
I'm your next dumbass Joe Rogan.
In Joe's case, they knew they had a certain demographic, and they worked it. But no different than Stanley Kubrick back in the early 60s. They were, there weren't that many directors in the 1960s. And they went to him, and the Hollywood industry, it's all about the money. It's like, directors want unlimited funds for their project. That is their dream goal, whatever movie they're making. And they said, yeah, blank check. You can go up to 5 years to make this film. We want you to figure out for us what the best way to fake space is on film. And he came back and said, can I turn all these clips into a story and make a movie out of it? Like, yeah, just leave us out of it. Leave our names out of it, turn it into a fiction piece. He's like, right on. I am so there. And he did. He took the 5 years and he made it. In 1968, he released 2001: A Space Odyssey, which to this day has aged better than just about any science fiction film ever. I mean, you put it up on Blu-ray, you can't even see the cropping. It's just gorgeous. I mean, when they're flying to the moon, I'm going, that is incredible what he did in the 1960s. So no, selling out, people, we don't like to admit it. It's like, look, there are mainstream Hollywood actors that initially back, remember during World War II, we hired them to do pro-American propaganda films, buy war bonds, and do all this, and, for America. And now we're just more subtle about it. Now we just make the movies. When Mel Gibson came out with We Were Soldiers, about the Vietnam War, to kind of press forward any engagements we were doing overseas. And movies like, look, actors will take the money. Actors are always desperate, to take the money. Joe Rogan, no different. Sorry, I'm rambling.
You're fine.
What do you got?
I was just checking my phone to see if anybody out there is trying to get a hold of me. Unfortunately, doesn't seem like they care about me.
No, don't. Be careful what you wish for. Well, Stanley Kubrick, there's a wonderful documentary. Excuse me.
Hmm.
Wonderful documentary out there called Room 237, which after Stanley Kubrick died and Blu-ray came out, there were people that came out and went frame by frame through The Shining. Fantastic documentary about, basically, he was so angry about how the 2001, faking the moon stuff went, because he couldn't tell anybody, that he wrote his confession. He built his confession, encoded it into the 1980 movie The Shining, because Stanley Kubrick did not do a lot of movies, and they went through frame by frame and they said, this is what this means, and they went through it, and it absolutely made sense. Absolutely made complete sense. And it basically showed that it was a dream that turned into a nightmare, because he realized at the end that, yeah, the money wasn't worth it in the end. No different than, I don't know how much of a movie fan you are, Wag the Dog from the late 90s. You remember that movie? Vaguely?
I don't watch a lot of movies, so
That's all right. It was a movie about the United States government hiring Hollywood to create a fake war in an Eastern Bloc country, kind of like Ukraine, where they literally faked the entire team. And Dustin Hoffman was the director, and Robert De Niro was the CIA op that was coordinating the whole thing. And at the end, there was this weird moment where Dustin Hoffman's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to do a making of a documentary about this," and De Niro was so upset, because it's like, even though it was kind of like a mockumentary, he was like, he realized that Dustin Hoffman was never going to the director was never going to keep his mouth shut. And so they, you knew that after the movie that something was going to happen to him. And so they tell you, they warn you. It's like, yeah, we're going to hire you, but we, in exchange for us taking care of you, you do exactly what we say. And
yeah, I'm fine with that, because they say money can't buy happiness, but I never seen anybody crying on a jet ski.
there you go. That's a great
Yeah.
line. I have used that one myself. It's true. Can't
Yeah.
buy you happiness, but certainly rent it for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You ever see anyone just frowning on a jet ski? No.
Nope, not at all.
No. So what else can I do for you? I'm just happy that I watched this morning a debate, a very high profile debate between one of our guys, DITRH channel, known as David Weiss, went against a professional troll. The government hires trolls too. And this one goes by the name of Professor Dave. And I remember going on there this morning, and the moderators said, "Oh yeah, we've got this really big YouTube channel, Professor Dave with almost 2 million followers." I'm going, what? What are you talking about? 2 million followers? He's a troll just for flat Earth. We have a hard time getting breaking triple digits in a lot of cases. How in the world does he get 2 million followers? And the chat room, the chat rooms in YouTube, there were 900 people in that chat room, which is quite a bit for a chat room for a YouTube live stream. And all of them were flat earthers, all of them. And I had to call BS. I said, look, if this guy's got 2 million followers, there should be roughly 5,000 people in that chat room, and they should all be him, and they should just be spamming the hell out of us and just crushing us in the chat room. Never happened. There was nobody in there. And which leads to a whole nother, thing that you can buy your numbers. Anyone out there listening, watch a wonderful documentary called Fake Famous. Brilliant.
Yeah, that is good. I do watch a lot of documentaries. If you want to ask me about a documentary, I can probably say yes. But you ask me about a movie, I don't know.
The other one, which I loved, if you're in documentaries, was The Social Dilemma.
I started to watch that, but
you really should finish it. It's okay. About the social media monster that was created, how all these different software companies basically created different pieces that became a Frankenstein that now consumes all. It's like a Frankenstein Godzilla hybrid, which just goes out there and data mines everything, and it can be used to manipulate everybody. To where we were mentioned in that at one point. I remember the rough cut of that, where there was they were talking to a programmer that was talking about why things are recommended for you in YouTube, right? And because there's only one guy that wrote that routine, and because they were looking for binge-worthy topics, and of all the thousands of topics that he could have brought up, he brought up one, and he said, "Well, if the average person that gets into flat Earth watches 20 videos in a row, what do you think we're going to recommend to people?" And what he's basically saying is you find what the trend is, and then it's like recommended for you. Doesn't matter if you were searching for potato salad recipes or how to change the oil on your lawnmower. They're recommending flat earth videos to you, at the bottom of the thing. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. And people kept clicking on those. And for 3 years, they were shamelessly promoting us on YouTube, just shamelessly. And
I completely checked out of all social media. So I think that's
Good for
why
you.
I didn't watch it, because I start watching, I'm like, yeah, social media is shit. That's why I'm not on it, and I just watch something else.
Like
But
YouTube is the biggest television network in the world, and nobody talks about it. It's like something along the lines of 80 hours of content is put up every minute on YouTube.
wow.
And that was 5 years ago when I came up with that stat. 80 hours per minute, which means there are lifetimes of content you will never ever see. Now, most of it is crap. At least I thought it was crap until TikTok came out, and then YouTube started actually looking pretty good because TikTok, it's mostly just people just lip syncing songs. I've never seen so much music jammed into it. It's like, oh, I got a 60-second video. What am I going to do with it? Oh, I'm going to lip sync to it, or put music on top of anything. That's what all TikTok videos are. When people send them to me, it's like, oh God, this is horrible.
I do have to recommend a documentary for everybody out there because it was crazy. It's called Wild Wild Country. Have you seen that?
No.
I'm trying to get the woman who was in it on the show, but
What's
not
about?
having much luck yet. It's about this group who may or may not be a cult. They don't like to be called that.
Right.
But they came here from India, and they moved to I think it was Oklahoma, something like that.
Yeah.
And they bought like acres and acres of land, and they went ahead and started their own little town, and they basically just took over this little small area, and then they took over the county, and then they had it out with some of the government officials. They bombed one of the buildings. Their end goal was to take over the state. I mean, it was incredible.
I've seen this movie, and it was called Waco, Texas.
Yeah, it was right. It was probably maybe a decade or two before that. I mean, it was incredible. They were trying to take over the town, but the way they were going to do it was by being elected into positions. But the only way they could really get elected is if they had the numbers. So they just started busing homeless people from all over the country to live there, and they would just put them up in tents. It was really crazy. I mean, it doesn't even sound real.
I'd never heard of this.
It's great, and
I'd
it's
never
still
heard
up
of this.
there.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm fascinated by those anyway. A lot of people in America, I mean, we don't know so much of our own history. Was that Utah tried to be its own country briefly, in the
Really?
1800s, and the Latter-day Saints tried to break away, and the U.S. government was having none of it, but it took a lot more doing because it's the 1800s. You can't just fly out there and squash this. They had to march troops from DC, in the forts, and they had to march westward to keep this from happening because they were going to declare secession. Not
See,
because they were angry. It's like, no, we think we just got this covered. We're just going to make Utah its own
We got
country.
it.
It's like, yeah, you're not breaking up the West like that. It's not going to happen. You're not Texas.
And see, that's why I don't really watch a lot of movies and things like that, because there's so much real life stuff out there that's completely nuts and unbelievable. I'd rather hear that than something you just made up,
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
There is. All right, what questions do you have for me? Do you have any questions?
Well, I was waiting for somebody. There's the podcast official weatherman was supposed to be here, but we're waiting on that guy.
All right,
And
do you
hopefully,
have any questions?
well,
Do you have anything that's just kind of sticking out? Saw you
you
had
hear
a
that? That's
What?
my doorbell. I think that might be our expert. If you want, go ahead and promote your stuff. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab the door.
Okay, I will.
All right.
So if anyone's listening to this and you want to know how to find my stuff, best way, because I'm not a huge fan of social media, believe it or not, because I just don't want to get stretched that thin. I put my stuff out on YouTube mostly. If you find my stuff on any other whatever platform, it's probably put there by somebody else, and I'm not maintaining it. I do maintain the one on YouTube. Just type in Flat Earth Mark. It'll show up my channel. There's 1,500 videos on it, but don't be intimidated by that. There's a bunch of playlists that everything's broken down by category. If you're new to the topic, I suggest a playlist called the Flat Earth Shortlist for New People. That's really, really great. Or if you think you've already got kind of a good handle on it already, you can go to a playlist called Flat Earth Tests and Observations, which is also excellent. There's also testimony shows by subject matter experts, where all sorts of people from various branches, all the branches of the military and pilots and engineers and air traffic controllers, I interviewed them all completely unsolicited. They called me up and said, hey, you're not that crazy, and here's why. And those are wonderful playlists. What else? There's a couple books on Amazon. Actually, there's 3 books now. There's 2 Flat Earth books, Flat Earth Clues and Sky's the Limit, and Flat Earth Clues Into the World on Amazon in both print and audio format. There's also a survival guide on Amazon called Empty Shelves. And it's also in audio format. And if you really don't want to buy it on Amazon, that's fine. I'll give it to you for free because, well, as you know, the end of the world is upon us. So you can just email me at msargent23@comcast.net, and I will send you the free PDF file of the survival guide, which is what I wrote it after Katrina. If you guys are curious about this, like, wow, you're just cashing in because of the whole, what's been happening lately. So no, I wrote this after Katrina. So it was quite a few years ago. And that's because when Katrina happened, there was the whole city emptied, the whole city evacuated from New Orleans, and only half of them came back. And out of those people that came back, most of them didn't even prep at all. Not even a can, no bottled water, no batteries, no nothing. It's like you were all chased out of the city deliberately. So what happened to the host of our show?
He went outside to pee. My name is Dr. Fliegen Farfik Flogen. I am an expert, yeah. I am from the Germany.
Germany?
Yes, I am very late because I probably should have thought of something quicker to change into.
For those of you who are listening to the audio version of this, this appears to be the host of the show with fake nose and sunglasses, a trench coat, and a toque. Is that a toque hat?
I don't know what we call it in Germany, but yeah.
You look like the cross between Albert Einstein and a flasher. It's what
thank you. Mark.
Yes.
I seem to have forgotten what I sound like. Could you do an impression of me while I gather my thoughts?
I don't do German. I do Russian, and when I do Russian, people say I sound like Russian Dracula. So
yeah, I think I remember what I sound like now. I am an expert, and I want to show example. This flat piece of paper.
Flat piece of paper, yeah.
This is what Mark thinks the world is like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think his theory is trash.
Oh, and you crumpled up into a ball.
And this is what the world looks like, yeah. So, I just want to say that it was a pleasure. My mother's Irish, so if you
oh, she's Irish, is she?
Yes, that's why my accent goes in and out. Sometimes I talk Irish, sometimes I am German. But it was very nice to meet you. I think you understand that the earth is no longer flat due to my example. I am an expert. Everybody can believe me. And I will look forward to being social media man. And I have to say, auf Wiedersehen. I am going to get out. I'm going to see if Jason is done peeing outside. And he will be back, yeah. And I'm going to go away. There's not enough room in this tiny little sardine can for the both of us.
Yeah,
now would be a good time to promote your stuff if Jason hasn't given you that opportunity.
Okay, I will promote more of my stuff. Sure, why not?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Okay, auf Wiedersehen. So while he's gone, and I don't even know if I'm on video when he does that. I think I'm a black screen, but that's fine. You have to. There's a couple questions. I'm a big believer in plot holes. One, why does Jason's bathrooms not work? That's kind of concerning to me. Two, the man in question, his accent, he's slipping in and out of it. But even then, the professor that I was just talking to from Germany, even he was more credible than Professor Dave from the channel of the same name, Professor Dave, because that guy was just horrible. Seriously, if you guys want to check it out, go to channel DITRH. You'll see some highlights or lowlights, depending on how you want to look at it. Because I have never heard, I have heard a lot of flat earth debates over the last 7 years, and I have never heard a guy go on the personal attack as quickly and as continuously. I don't know if it was a knee-jerk reaction. I don't know if he was nervous. I don't know if he just decided to go full atomic, and hopefully he could rattle Dave into not presenting his arguments, because he called him, again, it was only an hour long, and he called him, the moderators might as well have not even been there. It was their channel, and it was probably good because the guy showed his true colors. He used the word stupid, idiot, and moron so many times in that I thought it was a game show. It's like, how many times could you say that in a certain span of time? And to where there were so many people in the comment section saying this is completely unwatchable, because any debate person will tell you that that's what you strive to make the other guy do. To like lose his cool. It's like, you're an idiot, you're a moron, and all this stuff. And this guy did it in the first 5 minutes, and he never stopped. And the moderators, any other podcast would have stepped in and said, look, no personal attacks. You have to be respectful of the other guy. So, hey, win for us. Great. If DITRH is listening, thumbs up.
All right, I'm back. I don't know what the hell you said to that guy. He went running towards his car, babbling something about how he doesn't know what he sounds like anymore. That was,
by the way,
that was bizarre. I never met the man.
I'm going to give you some gold stars here, because not only have I not done, I've never been on a podcast where guests were brought on that I had no idea they were coming, right? Not just one, but two, including a crazy 9 cat lady person that I think just put away her shopping cart and got on the mic. And then to be followed by a professor who went out of his way to disguise himself.
No, he wasn't in disguise. I got a good look at him face to face when I answered the door.
Because the guy, first off, his nose was massive. Absolutely.
I know. I didn't want to talk about that.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, and his eyebrows.
Yeah.
You could tell he was German.
Well, I thought he was being attacked by caterpillars, because there was fur all over the place. And I
just hope he didn't make any Einstein references, because that's kind of who he reminded me of.
He you know what? A little bit, but only when like a bad dinner theater tries to imitate Einstein. Something like that.
Yeah,
when you're warming up the crowd for guys and dolls, you got a guy coming out there doing Einstein jokes. Yeah. What else you got on the docket? You're not even going to ask flat Earth questions, are you? This is not. You are just here to see if you throw out other things.
I just brought you on because you're a great sport with a good sense of humor, and you're a fun guy to talk to.
Well, I do
have one question. This has been bugging me ever since you came on. There are a lot of letters behind you. What is there a rhyme or reason why they're in the order they're in?
Well, actually,
because that's not the alphabet. I've seen the alphabet. That ain't it.
It's odd because when I choose the background for it because I have to do, like, this is Restream, but there's other ones out there. There's Google and there's Skype and there's I don't even know them all, but there's a lot out there. And so I just pick a background, whatever works. Like in this time, there's a green screen behind me, and I didn't even know it was going to be. This one is one of the by default ones. This is Flat Earth Clues introduction by Mark Sargent. This particular.
I see it now, yeah.
Background
before it was just letters, but now I see it's like one of those pictures that you can't see until your eyes unfocus.
You know what I used to have? I used to have a physical vinyl banner behind me, which was a blown up license plate of my car, which said it's flat. But because of how the camera is set up and I couldn't get it that far away from me, people could only see like 5 letters. And I was blocking 1.5 of them. And it didn't make any sense to where people were giving me crap. And so finally I just caved in and came up with different things. And then it's like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a freaking green screen. Because I thought the pandemic would have slowed things down as far as interviews go. And like, it's like, no one's going to call me. It's like, no, keep calling.
Yeah, I think that's one good thing about the pandemic is a lot of this kind of stuff happened, which is part of my self-sabotage. As soon as the pandemic happened and people started listening to more and more podcasts, I just went away. But I'm back now that it doesn't matter anymore.
I actually was almost banned from YouTube, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Because they changed. There's 3 things you can't talk about on YouTube. Cannot talk about. Can't talk about false flags. And if anyone's like, what's a false flag? Look it up. You can't talk about the election from 2020. Can't talk about that, which I didn't care about anyway. I've never voted in my life. And you can't mention anything regarding medical misinformation. Now, beforehand, that was just the version of snake oil. So you can't come out and say, hey, I got this pill right here. And this pill, I know it looks like a chapstick, but I got to work with what I got. And this pill cure everything that ails you. Everything from hair regrowth to gout to yellow toenails. Cure it all, right? Which is what they used to do back in the Old West. They pull into town and sell usually a bottle of weird alcohol and they get everybody drunk and then take their money and leave before they figured out. They wake up. It's like, my gout's still here. So you weren't allowed to do that. And so, and I'll be careful what I say here. They made an amendment to that policy, which said you cannot contradict the CDC or the WHO in any way, shape, or form. And if you do, we will give you a guideline strike. If you don't know what those are, they're different from copyright strikes. You use somebody's music, they'll be like, it's fine. You can't make any money off it. We'll get the nickels for it. And it's like, fine, don't care. But a guideline strike, that's almost equivalent to hate speech. And if you get 3 of those, your account is gone. And all of a sudden, I got on their radar because I was ranting and raving about all the lockdowns and everything that was happening. Mm-hmm. And they hit me with a strike. And then, whatever reason, they went through my back catalog. And I'd been doing this since like March of 2020. I mean, I jumped on this immediately and said, this is a bunch of crap. And they gave me 11 strikes in 72 hours.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. I equate it to the henchman in the movie getting machine gunned. You just empty the gun on him and he's going down, right? You don't even have to worry about him. You can just move on. And then later, just see him go over like a tree. That was me. I'm going, that's it. I'm done. It's over. The channel's gone. And then for some reason, the social media gods granted mercy on me. And 90 days later, someone who was helping me admin the channel contacted me and said, your channel's free and clear. It's like, what are you talking about? It's impossible. That can't happen. And I wasn't going to press my luck. So yeah. So I'm hoping, you probably see I'm getting pretty close to hitting 100,000 finally, because I don't buy subs, like other people, Professor Dave. And if it happens, if you get 100,000 subs on YouTube, they send you a silver plaque. That's your first silver plaque. And I want to get one of those before the world ends. I really would. Before all of a sudden the saber rattling gets out of control. I'd love for that to happen. It sounds petty, but you know what? I have my petty side.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd love to have 100,000 subscribers. So
it's not exactly what you think, because people. It depends your demographics. It's all about and plus you can't trust anybody anymore. I mean, yeah, the kids will jump on certain subs. Like they'll sub to different music people. The one that bugged me, you ever hear of PewDiePie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That guy, he even fooled Hollywood producers at one point, which was when he got around, I think between 50 and 60 million subs, which is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. He's a troll from Sweden. that makes videos about playing video games. In fact, I remember one of his really early ones back in the day where it was just him playing Minecraft, laughing hysterically at a Minecraft zombie being stuck in a tree. That was the video. And I was watching kids, they couldn't get enough of it. I was like, what the hell? How old am I getting? And it was, I mean, they were in their 20s, and he was getting millions and millions. But the thing was, he figured out one of the loopholes, which was some sort of production team got a hold of them, because YouTube will pay you for hits and subs and stuff. They will send you a check, right? They'll pay you through Google. And he was taking that money and spending it overseas and buying more subs and hits, right? Which then in turn got him more money from Google, and he'd circle back around, and it became this cyclical thing. But the thing is, when do you stop? Because eventually the numbers aren't going to make any sense, right?
Yeah.
When he got up around 60 million and Taylor Swift and Katy Perry were both sitting at 30, right? And he hadn't done anything. It looked a little suspicious. But then Hollywood came in. It's like, oh, guy's got 60 million subs. We got to get him on television, right? So they bring him over and they shoot a show called Let's Prank PewDiePie or something along those lines. And nobody watched it at all, right? And they're like, what? I don't get it. Scratching their heads. What happened? It's because they were phantoms. There were no real subs. It's like, and I knew this later when he was, when he was at like 70 million. It just kept going, he kept doing it. It wasn't, so he goes back to Europe. He just keeps doing it. And he was on promoting, the whole thing is to get sponsorship. And there was a gaming chair, video game gaming chair company. And he was trying to sell them, and he gave too much away. He said, look, if I sell 100 chairs, I get a price break, right? And all of a sudden it's like, wait, dude, you have 70 million subs and you can't sell 100 freaking chairs, right? They're not even that expensive. It's not like you're selling cars. And even then I think you'd sell more than 100 cars. And so, which is why, again, you knew when you watched the documentary Fake Famous. It's not a, the line, we'll take it to a bigger scope, which I love, which is, I think it's on Instagram. On Instagram, there are something like 10 million people on Instagram with at least 100,000 followers. Well, that's impossible. There isn't, I mean, you gotta understand, in the entertainment community, there's maybe 10,000 famous people in the world, right? Famous people, even A-listers, B-listers, comedians, even athletes and stuff. You don't know. In fact, you try to make a list, you're not even gonna make it to 1,000 people. 10,000 is being generous. So where are all the millions of people? It's like, they're not real, they're fake. And there's sorry, I don't want to go off on a tangent.
No,
here.
You're fine,
But
man.
when I was down at a conference in New Zealand, I was talking to some kids, and I mentioned, they brought up PewDiePie to me. It's like, oh, dude, he's so legit. He's so legit. He's so real. And I look at him and I go, why? And they said, well, because he's got, like, at that point, I think 50 million subs. And I'm going, and it's like, well, he's got 50 million subs. That means he's absolutely, the numbers create credibility. And what all of a sudden dawned on me, which was posing a huge problem, which is why you hire somebody like Joe Rogan, which is, these people, the social media people, just by buying their subs, were becoming as credible as an anchor on a major news network that's been doing it for 20 years, even more so, right? These kids would be like, PewDiePie, I know him. Anderson Cooper, who the hell is that? Right? And that's just one of many, many examples.
Well, everybody wants to go to the party with the most people, You got 60 million
that's
subs. That's where people are going to go.
There's a thing when, I can't remember what the threshold is, but I think, we'll just round up to 1 million. It's the whole bandwagon thing, which is, if you see somebody with 1 million subs, you watch the video. I'm skeptical. I'm cynical. I grew up in a time where, commercials, we learned what was real and what was not and what was hype. But kids nowadays, they see it. It's like, oh, this video, if it's even mildly funny and they see 1 million subs, they're subbing to it because they don't want to be not subbed to it. They want to be like, well, there's a million, the old joke your mother would tell you. It's like, if 1 million people jumped off a bridge, would you go with them? Well, now we know, yeah, there's a lot of people that
Yeah, I
absolutely would.
always said if they said it was cool, hell yeah, I'd jump.
Yeah, you're jumping. I mean, look at all the stupid challenges that are out there. Whatever, TikTok challenge. If I have to see one more of those, where they're doing absolutely stupid. So why are you doing it? It's because there's all these people doing it. Like, oh, so when Logan Paul, one of the social media influencer guys, that he showed up at our Denver conference to try to punk us, and it was so frustrating for me. I walked out. I did not do my set. They even gave him the mic before, he was going to go on stage before me. And I'm just
Really?
beating. Oh yeah. And the reason is because most of the people at the Flat Earth Conference were over the age of, I don't know, at least 35, right? Maybe even 40. And his demographic skews junior high school, give or take. that's his thing. And what was happening? So I sat down with a bunch of the presenters. I'm going, look, this guy can't be here. I go, you can't let this guy in here. He's a troll. He's a social media troll. And I was so frustrated because nobody knew who he was. I was trying to tell him, and I was one of the only people that did the research. I ran into him. I knew exactly who he was and his brother, and but nobody else did. So they were like, "Sorry, I just don't know him." It's like, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna freaking regret it, and they did. And I left, and I didn't. And it took me months before I was vindicated. Months, because it took him months. It took him months before he released his video, and he completely trolled us. But even the promoter of the conference, he was telling me, no, he's legit. He's above board. It's gonna be a serious piece. I'm going, Logan Paul's never done a serious thing in his life, ever. You might as well be asking the team of Jackass to do a serious documentary. It's not going to happen. As much as they want to, it's not going to happen. Multiply that by social media on crack. Anyway.
Are you?
That's in the book, by the way, which you're holding.
Yeah, right here, Flat Earth Clues. I was going to bring that up because we're going to be doing a contest. It's really easy to enter. All you have to do is show a little bit of love for the show. There's multiple ways to enter. Just send me a screenshot of you subscribing on YouTube, Twitch, liking the Facebook page, stuff like that. Each one of those things that you do, if you send me screenshots of, will get you a chance to enter in the drawing. And if you're already doing that, just send me a screenshot of what you've already done, and I will. I want to make sure people watching this that aren't live have a chance. So I'm going to keep that going until Tuesday, April 12th, and then I will announce the winner the following day on the show that will be coming up. So it's pretty easy to enter.
Maybe I should do a just so you can officially get the Flat Earth stuff in the books. Maybe I should do a quick 5-question summary of people say, what's your 5 question? I'll tell you the story of other people.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I am talking to you.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking to Kat. She's messaging me off on another screen. Shameless. Oh my God. I mean, sending pictures during the interview is just distracting. Because she's in a like a full gorilla costume. I don't even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like,
it wouldn't surprise me if she actually had one of those. She seems like a fun person that would be like, yeah, let's do this.
The Kate Beckinsale from Underworld. The British actress. She apparently, one of her quirky things, because Hollywood people are just so weird, is she brings a 2-person horse costume that you usually see at stupid conventions, like Shriners conventions, when she's traveling. And she and another person will walk around the hotel in a 2-person horse costume.
I like that.
Actors. So weird. Anyway,
me and her should be friends.
She is great. I will give you that. So let me hit you with a quick Flat Earth story, which it'll be a story.
Real quick.
You're doing
the man we've been waiting for.
I can't talk about Flat Earth, can I? You're not even gonna let me.
Banned it from the show.
This is the first time I have ever done a Flat Earth interview and been not allowed to talk about Flat Earth. Thank you for that. That's great.
We have somebody waiting to join the show. Introducing the world's most famous weatherman and YouTube sensation, Frankie MacDonald. Frankie, how you doing, bud?
Oh my God.
I'm doing great so far. And the weather all across the eastern United States going to be lots of rain all across New York City. And Thursday and Friday it's going to turn colder once again. And it's going to bring more rain all across the eastern United States. And got extremely hot weather for California. There has been severe weather all across the southern states. And they're bringing severe thunderstorms, chain lightning, real loud thunder, heavy downpours, large hail damage winds. They had hail in Florida, and breaking windshields and things like that, and tornado touched down there in Florida as well, in Georgia and Alabama. It was really, really bad. As right now, it's going to bring really cold weather all across the western United States next week, really warm weather eastern United States next week as well.
Real quick, Frankie, I want to introduce you to my guest. His name is Mark Sargent. Have you heard of Mark? I know you're into astrology and things like that.
Wait, this is
Mark,
live?
I'm doing great so far.
Yeah, this is
a
live.
recording? This is
They got
actually
an asteroid.
Frankie?
I'm
They
sorry,
got the
Frankie.
asteroid 2019 F1 headed towards the Earth on May 6th, 2022. It's going to bypass the Earth altogether.
Well, that's good news. We'd be in trouble if it didn't. Frankie, I want to introduce you to Mark. He's wondering if this is live right now. Can you say, hey, Mark Sargent, this is live?
Hey, Mark Sargent, this is live. I'm doing great so far.
I'll be damned.
He's a legend.
I actually know who this guy is. I have seen Frankie's stuff. He's famous. I have seen you in different forums, man. I can't believe you're here. That is awesome.
Yeah, we're happy to have Frankie here. He's the podcast official weatherman. He joins us every single week.
That is
and
so cool.
Frankie's been a part of the show since 2015.
Where are you right now, Frankie? What city are you in?
Out by the Steel City in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I'm showing you the Steel City.
I'll be damned.
Nice.
That is so cool.
Well, Frankie, real quick, if you haven't heard of Mark, Mark is a flat Earth believer. Do you have any questions for Mark as far as flat Earth goes?
The Earth is round. It's not flat. It's round.
And I would expect nothing less from Frankie on that one.
All right, Frankie, how are you doing today, man? It looks like you've been having a good day.
So
You're out and about.
I had to sing Peaches by the Presidents of the United States in karaoke inside the Steel City just now.
Oh, wow. I bet people love that. Do you mind giving us a little sample?
Moving to the country, going to get a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, going to eat me a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, going to get a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, going to eat me a lot of peaches. Peaches come from a king. Therefore, they're by a man in a factory downtown. Millions of peaches delivery. Look out!
All right, Frankie, that's awesome, man. It's good to see you. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Oh, you made my week, man.
I think I may need to ask Mark if he has a question for you.
Yeah, Frankie, how long have you been doing videos online?
Since 2007, it's a video of the scenery. I did the very first video of myself on December 16, 2009. Then June 2010, I did the very first fire video of myself. Severe earthquake warning for California, September 2010. I made a Tosh.0 Season 2, Episode 13, late June 2010. Back then, I did not know how to ignore haters and trolls back in the old days. I closed down my old YouTube channel, Flank99. I opened up my new YouTube channel, Dogs Wolves, on June 13, 2011.
Yeah, I think I've seen you on Tosh. That is so great. No, seriously, that is wonderful. I thank you for coming on. I'm just thrilled.
And Frankie, I actually have a video that I want you to see. Maybe we can do a show this Friday, and I will show you a video. Well, actually, a couple of them of a fox that's been hanging around my house. It actually walked up to my front door, and 2 days later was in my back door. I think you'll enjoy that. All right, Franco, was there anything you'd like to say before you go?
My book is Be Prepared, Frank Don't Got No Life, Weather and Everything. It was published by Nimbus Publishing in Halifax, Nova Scotia. My Twitter is at Frankie McD. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie McD 1984. My Twitch is Frank Down 1984. My Clapper is Frank Down 1984. My TikTok is Frankie Down 1984. My LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. My Snapchat is Frankie MacDonald. And my YouTube channel is Dogs Wolves. Best of luck to you. I'm Frank Down. You're listening to We Don't Have Cookies radio show.
Have a great day, Frankie.
Thanks, Frankie.
Bye for now, guys.
All right, that was the podcast official weatherman, Frankie MacDonald.
Okay, now I am officially impressed.
Well,
for
thank you.
2 reasons. One, I thought it was clever enough that it was just a pre-recorded Frankie MacDonald. But then it turns out to be live. That just is mind-blowing to me because I have gone through a bunch of different forums and some of the regular forums. I've seen him. I have seen him
Yeah.
on different things. And people throw him up there. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's a Frankie sighting. It's like, what?
Yeah, they
How?
use a lot of his clips online, a lot of memes and things like that,
Oh,
but
he
that's
is
the
a
one
meme.
and only Frankie. We
He
talk
is a
every
meme.
single Sunday at 2 PM. He's a great
You're
guy.
kidding me.
No, we've been talking every single Sunday at 2 PM for 7 years now.
Oh my
So,
god.
yeah.
That is amazing. Anyone that's listening to the audio version of this, Frankie MacDonald, you got to look him up. That is just, I mean, he's not old school internet meme like Techno Viking or Homestar Runner or anything,
Mhm.
but he's really good. That's
He's
awesome.
a legend.
Yeah, he is a legend.
Well, Mark, is there anything that you'd like to say before you go? I want to thank you for being here. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, I already
I think
plugged
this is
my
the first time I brought somebody on while a guest was on the show, and they were more impressed by the person who jumped on than anything else that's
No,
happened,
I mean, no, you kept
which
it
is
up a
fine.
notch. The first guy from Rhode Island was great,
Mhm.
right? Because I honestly thought he was from Germany for a while because his accent was completely throwing me. But then you bring on Crazy Cat Lady, and it's like, wow. It's like if I do a podcast with her, we may not stop because you can just tell, the gears
We need
are
to
there.
set something up where me and you and her, we do something like that, maybe once every other week, once a month, something like that on this
Sure.
channel. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. But then you take it up another notch with Frankie MacDonald, which was not a pre-record. It's actually freaking I mean, I would have been
Mhm.
happy with just the pre-record. Be like, oh, I see what you did there. Because he was doing a weather report. It's like, like he does. And it's like, what? So it's just amazing. So yeah, no, thank you for that. And again, for
No
anyone
problem.
wants to find my stuff, just type in Flat Earth Mark or in YouTube or Google. You're gonna find me somewhere. Feel free. All my contact information's out there. My email, my phone number, physical address is in the body of every single video I make because that's what you should do on the internet. It's just put out all your personal information. No, don't do that. That's terrible. I do that because for whatever reason, people don't abuse it. I don't know why. I would have thought that somebody would have sent me, but I get these cool, cool packages in the mail. That's fun. So
There you go.
now I know. Now I'm
All
starting
right.
to talk to Frankie.
Well, it was great having you on, and hopefully, I'll get up there where you are one day with almost 100,000 subs, and maybe you can tell your people to come over here. We got Frankie,
Yeah. Yeah. Just send me the audio for this when you're done, and I'll promote you. Sure.
All right. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and it was great
Wait,
having
wait,
you
wait
on.
a minute.
You're always a fun
Wait,
guest.
before we go,
Mhm.
there was actually a couple people that put something in the chat. Somebody said Joe Rogan is smarter than me.
They said Joe Rogan is smarter than me because I said Joe Rogan is stupid, and then I told them to name one person who isn't.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's that.
touche.
Well, thank you. No, it was an absolute pleasure, and hard to believe, how fast a year and God it's been like 14, 15 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
14 since we talked. So no, thank you. It was
This
wonderful.
this show has the most famous guest of any show no one's ever heard of.
Yeah. And by
That's
the
the
way,
We Don't Have Cookies promise.
before I go, the
Uh-huh.
name of the cat is.
Mr. Kitty.
You're not making that up, are you?
No, because he was just a stray. I did not want to get attached to him, and my kids
Aw.
started to, and I thought we need to nip this in the bud. It's just Mr. Kitty.
Aw.
And 7 years later, everything happened to me in 2015, but he's still here.
Yeah, I'm a cat person. I mean, I dogs are fine, but I treat it kind of like the cartoon strip Garfield. Odie's an idiot, but Garfield's the interesting one. Cats are just entertaining all day long.
Well, fun fact, and since your address is out there, I might send you some. I actually grow my own catnip. I got a ton of plants. I
Yeah,
had
send me
one.
some.
I had enough one year. It just covered my entire kitchen table, and it was probably that high.
And
I
you
mean,
you wonder
it was
why
a lot.
strays head your way? You wonder that? So Mr.
Yeah.
Kitty was just on his back in the yard.
Oh man, this dude loves it. I can't let him out though because even though he used to be an outdoor cat, now that I'm attached to him,
Yeah.
where I live, I have foxes and coyotes and everything just
Oh,
walking
yeah,
through
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
yard. So if I
Yeah.
let him out, I'm kind of afraid he won't come back.
Yeah, cats with foxes and coyotes, they get chased around. Raccoons are the ones you got to get worried about because they cats have a hard time telling the difference, between
Yeah,
a cat and a raccoon. They'll mess you up.
I got about 30 of them that live in an old barn on my property, and
Oh, raccoons?
yeah, I got everything. There used to be a turkey that lived here,
Really?
so yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I told somebody we were outside, we were target practicing, and I kept hearing this noise. And my dad is a turkey hunter, and
Yeah.
I thought, damn, that sounds like a turkey. And I told somebody, I told my next door neighbor, and he thought I was nuts. And then one day I come home from work, and he's waiting on me, and he said, "You know what? I just want to let you know, I saw that turkey. It ran from my yard straight to your yard, right down the fence row." He's like, "I just wanted to make sure you know that I believe you now." And I
Nice.
thought, I didn't think you didn't believe me, you asshole. This is completely unnecessary. And I kicked him out of my house.
Nice. Nice. Very cool. Well, hey, it was an absolute thrill. And whenever you need me, let me know. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right, sounds great, Mark. Thanks for being here. I really
Do I
appreciate it.
do I
Always
stay, or
fun
do you
time.
do you kill it, or do I blink
Oh
away?
yeah, I'm going to do a quick outro, and
Oh, okay.
that'll be it. So, all right. Well, you have a great day, Mark.
Thanks.
All right, guys. I want to thank Mark, Kat Dunn, and Frankie MacDonald for joining me. Also, John the Songman. Next week, Wednesday, April 13th at 10 p.m., we will be doing this again. I will be talking to the first legally blind person to write, produce, direct, and star in their own feature film from the Gold Coast of Australia. Guff will be on the show. I will also be talking to somebody I've never talked to before, and I got a feeling that we're all going to love him. It's somebody that Frankie introduced me to. If you're one of the people who watched some of the test streams I've been doing before today, you'll know that Frankie got a hold of me while I was doing one of those streams, wanting me to join him and a friend. And I wasn't able to because I was doing this, but a rapping weatherman from Canada will be here as well. I will be doing a stream tomorrow night at 10 to talk about something that happened to me yesterday with some Kirby vacuum salesman. That's a whole thing. That's why that's going to be on tomorrow. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment, and I try to interact with everybody as much as I can. So if you want to leave me a voicemail, the number was on the screen the whole show, or you can send me an email, jason@wedon'thavecookies.com. And I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'll talk to you soon.